Calling to order the regular meeting of the Rothtown Council for Thursday, April 4, 2024. And we'll start with the posting of the agenda and any changes to the agenda. Has the agenda been posted?
Yes, Mayor, it has been posted.
Are there any proposed changes to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the introduction and swearing of new police officer, Dominic Peterbaugh. I hope I said that right.
You're all good. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, town manager Johnson, and everybody. This is a really special and an important night for every officer. The night that you get sworn in and you get your badge. So I'd like to introduce you to our very newest police officer. This is Officer Dominic Peterbaugh. He started with us on March 25th. He'll be in training for the next 16 weeks here in Ross. He was born and raised in Santa Rosa, California. He played football, rugby, track and field, basketball? No, he should have. For Montgomery High School. After high school, he enlisted to serve our country in the United States Marine Corps, where he remained for 6.5 years. When he was discharged, he went to work for the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department, and he served on their, he's a correctional officer, and served on their mental health team. Went to the police academy in 2022, and I'm happy to say that he's now here in Ross. I'd like to introduce you also to his girlfriend, Talisa Azevedo. She's an officer with the Tiburon Police Department. He loves to hike and mountain bike, and tonight he'll be pinned by his mother, Denise Van Wy. Ready? Okay, why don't you raise your right hand? I, Dominic Peterbaugh,
I, Dominic Peterbaugh,
do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend
the
Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
that
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
that I will well,
and faithfully discharge
faithfully and discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties on which I'm about to
on,
which I'm about to enter.
Good. Come on up, Mom. This is for you. Yep. You just slide it on. You're good.
There we go.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item is the mayor's report. I am thrilled to announce some exciting upcoming events in our town that I encourage you all to attend. First and foremost, the RPOA will be hosting a musical performance by Swiftie featuring Taylor Swift songs. The event is to take place on Friday, April 19th at 5 p.m. Next on the agenda is the garden tour scheduled for May 11th, 2024 from 1 to 4 p.m. This event, organized by the Ross PTO, serves as a crucial fundraiser for Ross School. I always purchase tickets for my mother, friends, and clients who I believe will appreciate the opportunity to explore the beautiful gardens of our small town. Last but certainly not least, the Ross Auxiliary Dinner, a Verdant Affair, will take place on Saturday, April 20th. I have already secured my tickets and am currently on the lookout for a green outfit in line with the Verdant theme wear. This event is my personal favorite as it offers residents the chance to connect with one another in a delightful dinner party setting. The auxiliary has made substantial improvements over the years, such as hiring professional chefs and moving the event to the spring. I hope to see you all there as well. As many of you already know, this will be my final regular council meeting as a council member and mayor. Both Beach Cool and I will be stepping down after 3 terms on the council. On April 25th, at the council budget meeting beginning at 9 a.m., the new council members will be sworn in. Terry Dowling, Bill Kirchner, incumbent Mayor Pro Tem, and Matthew Salter. I wish them all the best of luck in their future endeavors on the council. It has been an absolute honor and privilege to serve on the council for the past 12 years. Serving as a council member has been a full circle experience for me, as my father, Peter Breckus, served for 16 years in Ross. It has been a pleasure meeting and collaborating with multiple generations of Ross residents, some of whom I knew from childhood, and others I have had the pleasure of meeting throughout the years. I am grateful for the opportunity to work along other fellow council members and dedicated staff members who form an essential part of our town's fabric. Additionally, serving as president of the Marin County Council of Mayors and Council Member has allowed me to forge valuable connections and work with other council members and the County Board of Supervisors. I want to express my deepest gratitude to all of you for your trust and support throughout my time in this role. Next up is council committee and liaison reports. Are there any reports? Yes.
Thank you. I have to put on my glasses. As part of my role as board president of Marin Wildfire and a Firewise leader, yesterday I had the pleasure of attending an open house at the Fire Foundry in San Rafael and meeting many of the wonderful participants in the program. The Fire Foundry is a unique Marin program committed to fostering diversity in fire service by offering an unmatched training experience that prepares individuals from all backgrounds for a rewarding and challenging career. The Fire Foundry's goal is to increase access to sustainable wage careers in the fire services for underrepresented groups in the sector through tailored programs, mentorship, and access to cutting-edge training. This program was conceived by Marin County Fire Chief Jason Weber and is entering its third year. Marin County Fire, Marin Wildfire, UC Berkeley, College of Marin, Conservation Corps, North Bay, and the Marin professional firefighters have been working together to make this program possible.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a report?
Yes, I have a report. I attended the MCCMC's Legislative Committee meeting recently. This is a subcommittee of MCCMC that meets, I think, every other month. And we discussed various matters before the legislature, some of which I thought might be of interest to the town. One is what to do about the $73 billion deficit in the state's budget. Basically, I think everyone's waiting to see what the governor wants to do in this regard, but the anticipation is that there will be some cuts. There will be some what they called sweeps and delays. There are no specifics as to whether this might affect any of the grants and so forth that we are very interested in personally, or our town is, but it is definitely something to watch. Secondly, there was a discussion of the insurance situation with companies like State Farm continuing to cancel policies or not renew them. And some other states have gone to what is being referred to as catastrophic modeling. I don't have details on what that is, but apparently that is something that the insurance companies are interested in. And the states that have moved to that model are having better success retaining insurers. If California adopts that modeling, there could be some additional rate increases, but the expectation is that over time, rates will level out off and will be better than what we are seeing now. I don't mean reductions from what we're seeing now, but better than what it could be. And there's some concern that California is lagging behind on this, that it may be another 6 months before we can have a model, and some concern that this wasn't done earlier, and some interest in ways to possibly speed this up. And then finally, there was also a discussion of proposed legislation that with regard to ADUs would exempt anyone building an ADU from reassessment for 15 years. The League of California Cities was preparing to oppose that legislation. The reaction of the subcommittee was kind of mixed. I said that We were interested in promoting ADUs in Ross, but I wasn't in a position to speak for the town or the council, but that I would relay this to the council, that this is a possibility. Of course, the argument against it is that towns like Ross and other towns in Marin County, the small towns in the same position, are very dependent upon property tax revenues. So this would be a bite out of our budget as well. So what's going to happen is the league is going to write a letter of concern, but not take a position right now as to pro or con, but it is another thing to keep in mind. Lots of other things we talked about, e-bikes and so forth, but I'm trying to keep this somewhat short. And so I just wanted to mention these three things because I think they are of particular interest to Ross.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a report? All right. We'll move on to staff and community reports. Town manager.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I have just a couple of updates for you this evening. On Thursday, April 25th, there will be a special town council meeting starting at 9 a.m. The current council will be asked to accept the results of the election, and the new town council members will be sworn in. Next, the council will make its appointments for the mayor and mayor pro tem roles, and then its appointments to various committees and regional boards. Then the council's annual budget workshop will follow and will end by 2 p.m. If approved by the council on tonight's consent calendar, your May and June council meetings will be held on Monday, May 6th at 6 p.m. and on Thursday, June 13th at 6 p.m. And lastly, registration has begun for Ross Rec summer camps that start on June 17th. Please register at rossrec.org. Thank you.
And is there anybody from the Ross Property Owners Association? Would you mind coming up to the mic to give your report? Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Town Council members. My name is Elena from the RPOA. We had our meeting on Monday and we discussed having a suggestion box at the post office for town people to make suggestions about how to improve Ross. We thought we could facilitate this for the town and also get ideas for the RPOA. Our historical walk is being worked on with Krista. We discussed doing QR codes or a little bit of small text and working on that as well. Pete Solar and Andy Mascaroni are our new RPOA members. Pete is going to be our treasurer, and the spring fling from the Ross Auxiliary was moved due to potential rain to May 4th. It's still being held at Marin Art and Garden Center. The spring dinner, as you mentioned, is sold out. The auxiliary is also working on the turkey trot, and Winterfest and Spring Fling are going to be a multi-community event, and it's going to be jointly put on by the auxiliary, Pixie Park, Ross Valley Players, and Marin Art and Garden Center, as well as the RPOA. Age Friendly, they had a very nice Valentine's Day luncheon, big success. They worked on a favor that was where the cover was designed by the Cedars. The next breakfast will be May 8th at Marin Art Garden Center. We are holding off on working on the lights at the post office until Krista lets us know if the lease has been renewed. The hanging flowers new order has been placed, and it will be delivered this month. There's a new table that's going to be placed at the post office. It's double the size of what we have now, and that's going to be delivered next month. As you know, as you mentioned, the Live on the Common is happening April 19th. It's a Taylor Swift tribute band called Swiftie. One of our town members is a member of the band as well. We're going to have Hump Monk Tavern, which we've had before, Poke a Go-Go, another truck, it's called the food truck. Andrews Camp is going to run sports and flag football for the boys. We're going to have Tony Tudos do a pre-order pizza form. 6-ounce wine, which is the new wine bar, is going to have a local setup for drinks and alcoholic beverages. And Crown and Crumpet is going to sell sundaes and ice cream sandwiches. I'm working with middle schoolers to set up the tables for the age-friendly or anybody who wants to use tables and chairs, and also clean up. And that's about it. Sorry.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We will move on to the consent agenda. And this item, if nobody requests an item to be taken off, we would hear all of these items together. And so I'll start with the council. Does anybody want to take an item off the consent? Move on to any member of the public. Would you just let us know if there's an item that you want to be heard on? Is there anyone online?
No hands raised.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda, items A through I.
Second. Councilmember McMillan?
Aye.
Councilmember Robbins?
Aye.
Mayor Breckus?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Kircher?
Aye.
Councilmember Cool?
Aye.
All right, with a vote of 5, the motion passes.
We'll move on to planning projects part 1, starting with 12 Garden Road. And I am recused on this because I live too close, so I'm going to take a step outside.
Okay, so good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Kircher and council members. This is 12 Garden Road, which is a public hearing to consider design review, an accessory dwelling unit exception, and nonconformity permit for the property located on 12 Garden. The project consists of remodeling and renovating the existing single-family home, including a 703 square foot second-story addition, an attached 1,200 square foot rent-restricted ADU integrated within the existing structure, and new landscaping. A nonconformity permit is required to extend the existing north side setback of 12 feet into the front and rear of the structure. I would also like to note that the town council shall make its determination on the individual merit of each application without following or establishing precedent. And in this case, for the floor area exception for the ADU, some of the findings you would need to make is that it would not create a significant adverse impact on any adjacent property, the surrounding neighborhood, or the general public good, that the lot and the arrangement of existing and proposed physical improvements can accommodate the exception without adversely affecting the views, privacy, access to light and air of neighboring properties, and then also that any modifications to site drainage shall be designed by a licensed engineer, and that there is adequate water supply for firefighting purposes. And all of those findings can be made. The 1,200 square foot ADU is all within the existing structure. So having said that, I'd be happy to answer any questions from the council, and the project architect team and property owners are also here tonight if there's any questions from the council.
Any questions of staff? Councilmember McMillan.
Roberta, I have a question about the rent restriction. Could you just briefly explain how that works, how long it lasts?
Yes, so the rent restriction runs with the land. There is a section in the ADU ordinance that would allow the property owner to seek removal of the deed or the rent restriction after 20 years, but that would require town council approval. So without that, it runs with the land. So if hypothetically the current property owners sell the property, it would transfer to the new owners.
One more question. The rent is for very low income, and I know we are required under our housing element to have, 34 very low income units, and I'm just wondering if you could briefly touch on how this helps us meet that requirement.
This helps the town a great deal in meeting that very low 34-unit requirement in the town's RENA allocation as part of the housing element update. So as it stands, there are a couple sites, one being the town hall, where there could be potentially 9 affordable units, and then possibly also Branson, which would maybe have 10. That's only 19. So the remaining, 26 would have to come from something like these deed-restricted ADUs within the next 8 years.
Right. If there are no other questions from council members, we'll hear from the applicant. And I should mention that it's up to the applicant how much of a presentation to make at this point. You're welcome to reserve any comments as well, but please go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. Can you hear me? I'll keep it very brief. I want to thank staff for a very good staff report. We had a pretty good reception to ADR. We've got letters of support from all the neighbors. They asked at the ADR if we could pick a slightly darker shade of taupey stucco, and I brought a sample if you'd like to see it. And Margot and Michael Eddy are here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions of the applicant? Does any member of the public wish to be heard on this planning project? Yes, please come forward.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Diane Howley, and my husband is Kevin Howley. We reside at 31 Winship. We share the rear fence with the Eddies at 12 Garden. We love the project. We think it's going to be a great addition to the community. We do have one concern with the landscaping, and I did have the pleasure of meeting with Margot today to discuss the removal of 3 guava trees. Those trees, they provide an equal amount of privacy between the 2 properties. So our request for the town council and for the Eddies, and Margot was lovely, is that we can replace them with some equal sized trees so we are not peering into their house and vice versa. We think that it would be valuable for both of us. So that's just our concern and our request. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the public who wishes to be heard on this project? Is there anyone on Zoom with a raised hand?
There are no raised hands on Zoom.
Very well. So we'll bring it back to the council for discussion.
Vice Mayor, if I may,
Yeah.
the applicant's entitled to a brief rebuttal.
Oh, I'm sorry, of course. I stand corrected. Does the applicant wish to present a rebuttal or any response? Nothing? Really? Okay. In that case, thank you. We will bring it back to the council.
Well, I'm prepared to make a motion to approve the project with a condition that appropriate screening be placed along the back fence.
Sure, I think that's, I mean, I don't think it should be super specific that it has to be, exactly. I think appropriate screening suits everyone. So second.
Councilmember McMillan?
Aye.
Councilmember Robbins?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Kircher?
Aye.
Councilmember Cool?
Aye.
All right, with a vote of 4, the motion passes.
I told Elizabeth if she has this, she'll make.
Okay, next item is item 8D, which is 200 Lagunitas Road and adoption of resolution number 2410. And we have the staff report, please?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Breckus and council members. Tonight, the applicant at 200 Lagunitas Road is requesting approval for design review and a demolition permit. The project is proposing to replace the existing siding with cedar shingles and add a stone base. The project also includes an interior and an exterior remodel to include new windows, 2 horizontal additions, adding 180 square feet, and 2 roof dormers to the front of the single-family residence. The project will also add 131 square feet to the garage for access to a JADU. A new 115 square foot covered entry is also proposed. Tonight's public hearing is to consider approving Resolution 2410 for design review and a demolition permit at 200 Lagunitas Road. And thank you.
Okay, let's see if any council member has a question about this. Okay, we'll open it up for members of the public. I'm sorry, the applicant presentation, if there is one. You don't have to give a presentation. Is there anybody here to give a presentation?
Yes, we have the architect, Brooks. Brooks, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't really have much of a presentation, only to say that I'm available to answer any questions, and that the overall purpose of this project is really to improve the presentation of the house. And we have a lot of support from the surrounding neighbors. And I look forward to answering any questions that anyone might have from the council or the public.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question of the applicant? Okay. And so let's open up to members of the public. Is there any member of the public?
No, there's no raised hands online, sorry.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll bring it back to the council. Is there?
I move we approve Resolution 2410.
Second.
Councilmember McMillan? Aye. Councilmember Robbins?
Aye.
Mayor Breckus?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Kircher?
Aye.
Councilmember Cool?
Aye.
All right, with a vote of 5, the motion passes.
Okay, we'll move on to our final item, which is 2 Bellagio Road, and design review, a hillside lot permit, and town council consideration of resolution number 2411. And with that, could we get a staff report?
Good evening, Mayor Breckus and council members. As noted, this is for the design review and hillside lot permit to construct a 30 by 60 sports court with 8-foot-high stainless steel rope net and a 5-foot-high concrete retaining wall with rectangular steps and lighting on the north side of the court. The new stone steps with handrail will provide access to the new court. and the sports court will be made of asphalt or concrete and will be adjacent to the ADU stone patio located on the eastern part of the lot. So just, there were some questions on the location. If you go back just to that slide, you'll see that the sports court is located towards the east of the lot. So if you're coming up Bellagio, you'll see this driveway. Right now, you will actually see the framing of the house and this ADU. Then you'll see a bunch of gravel and mud. But behind that is where the sports court is proposed. Here's again the site plan. Go back to that site plan. That's looking, a while ago we were looking north, now we're looking east. So it's actually on the eastern side of the property line. This is the front of Bellagio and the sports court's towards the back. Here again, we're showing the court. This is again facing north, but this is the main residence. This is the ADU, and right there is where the basketball or sports court would be. And then here's a photo. I think this would help maybe orient looking west to beautiful Mount Tam there. This is where the sports court would be behind the main house, the ADU, and the patio that's proposed. Just another view of the location to sort of clarify that it's not on the main road here. It's towards the rear of the lot. One of the questions raised was what were the items that the town council would be looking at in making this decision? Basically, why are you reviewing this? So you're reviewing this because it requires design review, and why it requires design review is because it results in more than 50 cubic yards of grading or fill. It's also over 1,000 square feet in impervious landscape surface, and it has fencing that's over 6 feet or a mesh over it. Then it also needs a hillside lot permit because as required for any lot with a slope of over 30%, and I believe the lot is about 36% in slope. And then, so for this part, the, after the town council packet was published, the property owner and developer had concerns and expressed that to planning staff on the limitation of the sports court to basketball. They essentially wanted to be able to be allowed to play baseball, lacrosse, tennis. And so in response to community concerns about the potential noise that may result from pickleball, and then also in conjunction with the council's direction to staff at the last council meeting to take a look at pickleball and develop policies related to that, staff drafted an amended condition. So here's the draft condition. It would essentially strike out the limitation to the basketball use. And then it would strike out the clause that states that if the use is changed, it could not be changed to pickleball, or they would need an amendment. Instead, it adds that the sports court shall be subject to all future rules and regulations related to pickleball, so that in the future, when the item comes before the town council on these policies and regulations related to pickleball, it would apply to this project. So staff did discuss this draft condition with the property owner and developer, and he agrees and supports the drafted condition as noted there. Go back to that slide, Alex. The benefit is that it provides the applicant with the ability to play other sports on the proposed court while ensuring that all future regulations related to pickleball are met. So with that, the next slide will go over some of the options. So in town council's consideration of resolution number 2411 for design review and a hillside lot permit for the proposed sports court at 2 Bellagio Road, the following options are available. So the town council can adopt the resolution with the necessary conditions as you see fit. You can continue the item to gather further analysis, research, any information, or to revise the project, or you can also make findings to deny the application. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. We also have the applicant and property owner here to present and answer any questions from the council.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question for staff? Seeing none, why don't we? Oh,
So the project doesn't include nighttime lights, is that correct?
It does not.
And this new condition of approval means that if the town decided to not allow pickleball in residential properties, this court could not be used for pickleball.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Just to follow up on that, and so if the applicant wanted to add lights to the court, what would be the process for pulling a permit?
So nighttime lighting for a sports court is, a use permit would be required, so it'd have to go back to the town council for a use permit.
Okay, thank you. All right, why don't we open it up to the owner? And you don't have to give a report, you also can defer, but if you do, we do need you to go to the mic, so everyone at home
Hi,
can
guys.
hear.
I'm Shadi O'Connor. I'm the developer of this project. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Mayor and Town Council members. I think actually Brad is online, who's the, and he can speak better to what we adopted from ADR and what they were, ADR approved this as a sports court and just had a few things that they suggested in coloring and in sound deadening, which we adopted. Would you like to hear that from Brad or?
It's up to you.
Oh, it's up to me. Brad, do you want to talk? Let's have Brad talk for a second.
Yeah, sure, I can talk about that.
He is.
So we presented at ADR and did receive unanimous support on this project. In the discussions kind of after we had gone through the project, there was a couple suggestions about proposing some sound deadening mitigation to the rear wall. And so we did add some wood cladding to the rear wall to help soften that sound. And then we also was suggested that we add a little bit more privacy screening. So we added some more native plants and just beefed up the screening a little bit. And that was about it for what the suggestions were. They were good suggestions and we adopted them without question. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I'm here to answer anything, that you might have to ask.
Great, thanks, Brad. I actually wanted to add a couple things too. This sports court was put in a place that is behind the structures that are getting built, which is a large single-family home and an ADU. From the 3 homes that are on Bellagio, I think it would be very hard to see this. It hasn't been built, but I think it's going to be behind those buildings from any of those homes. And then I know that there were a couple concerns from, another concern from a neighbor on Canyon, and you can't see anything from Canyon up to Bellagio. The 2 homes that have concerns are 200 plus feet away. And this sports court is built with no variance. There's not asking no variance. It's in the middle of a 3.5 acre lot. Pretty much we have this thing kind of in the center of that acre lot. Otherwise, I appreciate your time. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Does anybody, you have a question?
What's the surface of the court?
It's concrete. We were looking at permeable concrete, but unfortunately it would rust the rebar underneath. So we have to use regular concrete, but we have, we've put a water mitigation that goes into it's all in the plans, but we have water mitigation that a linear drain at the end that will dissipate the water in a slow manner.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we'll open up to the public, and then
Okay,
if you want
thank
to
you.
respond, we'll give you a brief opportunity to respond. So why don't we open up to members of the public? Is anybody here wishing to speak on this item? And can we see, is there anybody online that wants to be heard?
There is. Bradley?
Hi, this is Brad DeFore. I'm actually the owner. I just wanted to say thank you to the council for hearing this proposal. And if you have any questions for me, I'm also happy to answer them.
Okay.
There's somebody
So-
else. There's somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Rupert?
This is Rupert Montague. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, I live with my wife and 3 boys at 7 Bellagio. We own and live at that house.
I'm assuming we lost the person?
I think I was put on mute by somebody. I'm back.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
You're fine now. Thank you.
Yeah. So sorry.
So if you could just start over.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. We live, my wife and I, Nancy, and myself, Rupert Montague, live at 7 Bellagio with our 3 boys. We also own number 1 Bellagio, which is just slightly down the hill, as you may know. We have already voiced our opposition to this sports court in a letter to the town of Ross. And I believe my wife also did that at a recent ADR meeting. Anyone who knows our beautiful area of Ross knows how tranquil it is, how close to nature we are, and how close to the wildlife we are, and what a lovely place it is. It's a canyon, so noise echoes very easily around it. And so we do hear a lot of the noise made by our neighbors. And luckily, it's very little right now. But a lot of trees have been removed as part of this project, as you probably know. And that has reduced the sound insulation even more between 2 Bellagio and the rest of the houses on the canyon. And therefore, we are opposed to the whole project of building a sports court or basketball court on the basis of not so much site, but on the basis of noise, because there's no doubt that the noise will echo around the canyon and impact our house and the other houses on it. So that's really all I have to say. We really don't approve. We don't like the idea of this going ahead, I'm sorry to say. And if you really decide that you are going to make a decision that it's going to go ahead, then we would request that you research as much as you can the materials that you use for this, for the surface of the court, etc., to make it as quiet as possible. But having said that, again, we really are, I'm afraid, opposed to the building of the court itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to be heard? Are we done with public comment?
There are no raised hands.
Okay, thank you. So we'll bring it back to the council unless you wanted to respond to that. And if so, I'm sorry, is our protocol 2 minutes or 3 minutes? 5 minutes. If you want to, you don't have to. Okay. Okay, so now we'll bring it back to the council and. Sure.
Just want to note, yeah, at this point, it doesn't look like there's a lot of trees, but we have in the original plan for the home, we're planting 150 plants, trees and bushes, shrubs. And also on this landscape plan for this sports court, there's a bunch of screening and plants that are going up. So right now it does look a little sparse, but to answer Rupert, at some point, there's going to be a lot of stuff in between the homes and a lot of screening. Thank you.
Is there an option for a quieter surface, or does that
I
not?
don't know. I'm not sure. I've never built a sport court. So personally. But, yeah, I'm not sure. We can look into it. I think Brad would be open to it too. I think Brad would like something that would be quieter if we can find it, but I'm not sure. So, thank you.
Okay, so bringing it back to the council, does anybody want to start the discussion?
Could you show the map that shows all the other houses in relationship to Bellagio and the sport court? I think that's helpful.
Okay, and did you have anything further to say?
No, I think it's, I think the neighbors are really accustomed to not having anything there, and change is hard. I think the location of the sport court is such that it's in the location that is least intrusive to all the other neighbors. And I appreciate the applicant agreeing to abide by any future pickleball rules, because I do think that potentially that it could create noise. So I'm prepared to make a motion to support resolution number 2411.
I'll second.
Thank you, council. Yes,
If
as
I wanted
amended.
to make what about the possibility of asking if they could look into the possibility of a quieter surface, if they could work with the town planner and the builder to see if a quieter surface is possible? Would you be willing to add that to your motion? It's not a condition, it's just asking if they would look into it.
Yeah, he seemed to say that everyone would be interested in that. So yeah, I think that's fine.
So I think we need to be really clear so that staff doesn't later say, I don't know what was the motion. So this is a request for them to look into it, but it's not an obligation to change it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied, Ben, with that?
Yeah, as long as that's captured in the motion. So if I understand it, let me restate the motion. You can tell me if I've got it right. The motion is to approve the resolution in the packet with the amendment of language regarding the condition 3 that was read into the record earlier during the slide presentation, and further request but not require the applicant to research other materials for the sports court surface.
Well, maybe require them to research, but not necessarily require them to put it in. Well, okay, whatever.
Well, I've lost something here. What's the amended, what, are they being requested to research a different surface?
Yes.
Why?
For noise concerns in the neighborhood.
Okay.
What if they find something and they say to themselves, it's too expensive, we don't want to do it? Then what happens? So that's kind of a bizarre place to be. It's like a hypothetical research project, right? I don't know. I think I like my motion, my original motion. Sorry, Elizabeth.
With the amendment?
With Ben's amendment, yes, that the.
I'll second that motion.
Councilmember McMillan?
Aye.
Councilmember Robbins?
Aye.
Mayor Breckus?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Kircher?
Aye.
Councilmember Cool?
Aye.
With a vote of 5, the motion passes.
Okay, next is no action items, council correspondence. Did anybody receive correspondence that they want to raise to the council? Nope. Okay, future council items. Are there any future council items, Beach, that you would like to bring up right now?
I think
Maybe
that
we
might be
should-
inappropriate.
I think we should list short-term rentals, the dog park. What else can we do? Beach, will you second me on all of those?
Oh, yes, and whatever Branson wants.
Could I just raise what I'll call a point of order? Is something ongoing now with the staff in terms of pickleball court recommendations and so forth, that it would be premature to schedule something or agendize something?
We,
it
the
on the
last,
agenda?
yeah, last month
Did
we
we?
did, there was a support by 2 council members, and I have a feeling that's going to come back in 2-3 months or something like that.
Yes, Mayor. Yes,
Once you
we
cull through
will.
all the national news on
Yeah.
pickleball. Okay.
Yeah, staff will be bringing, it'll get in line after dark skies.
Well, Beach and I are very
Okay.
disappointed we can't be here for that, but,
I plan to.
yeah, we might just be those 2 guys up in the Muppets, you know, up in the balcony. All right, with that, we now are doing open time for public expression at the end of the agenda, so we'll open it up to that. Yes.
Mayor and council members, my name is Terry Dowling, and as a Town of Ross representative on the Marin Commission on Aging, I wanted to let you know this fiscal year, the commission worked with the county's area agency on aging to conduct a new 4-year needs assessment and a new 4-year plan for the Marin County's older adults. I will send a link to the plan and will give Krista a printed copy of the draft plan. This plan remains a draft until it's approved by the state of California. A few highlights of the needs assessment. Analysis of the extensive needs assessment of older adults in Marin County revealed a significant portion of Marin's older adults are struggling with financial security and social isolation, with differences in health status, food security, and isolation along income, racial, gender, and age lines. 1 in 4 older adults living in Marin who are over the age of 60 live below the economic self-sufficiency level. 1 in 3 older adults in Marin are socially isolated, and those who are low income are twice as likely to be socially isolated. In the United States, 1 in 4 older adults experience a fall every year. In Marin County, it's 1 in 3. Persons over the age of 60 currently comprise 30% of the total population, compared to 20% statewide. This percentage in Marin County will increase to almost 40% in the next 10 years. Currently, about 30% of Ross residents are 60 years of age and older. These data will guide the county in determining funding allocations and priorities over the next 4 years. I also want to take a moment and thank the Ross Town Council for appointing me over 12 years ago to represent the town on the Marin Commission on Aging. My term of office is almost over, and I'm so very grateful to have had this wonderful opportunity. I've learned so much, and hopefully I've been able to make a small difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment, and also thank you so much for your service on behalf of the town. Appreciate it. And more to come. Okay, let's see if there's any other public comment out there.
There are no raised hands online.
Okay, with that, we'll adjourn. I know.
Thank you, Mayor.
So Julie and I asked that it go on, and so
Can I borrow your pen? Thanks.
Should we put that there?